Hi, welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at Valaverse's Action Force Swarm Trooper, and this is the special deployment series. Now, I'm going to get into this. I wasn't even planning on buying this, but the biggest issue is I have the first Swarm, and he has the wings. I figured, what the hell, I wanted one without the wings, so I'm going to order them, and supposedly the plastic's been changed. I might as well test it and see if it actually is and do a quick review. So anyway, before we get started, you know the drill. Take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell notification so you are notified every time I drop a video, a review, and you know it's been a lot in the past couple months. So anyway, let's just get into this. So the special deployment series, he's reissuing the figures, not really repaints. It's not a bad thing because these things were really hard to come by. Pretty much the people that didn't get them right off the bat, you had to wait for them, through BBTS. The first round, there was a lot of issues with his figures. He's gone back and he's made improvements. Go back, watch some of my other videos on the special deployment series, and you'll see he really has made changes. It's not just lip service like a lot of other companies will give you. He actually went back and he changed a lot of things, and I addressed some of the things and I show you. Not saying that the company is perfect, not saying that the line is perfect, but I am saying there are strides to see a change. So anyway, special deployment, you are going to have a different box. I believe this is all the exact same, which I do really like the artwork. I mentioned this before, so if you have them lined up, they all look very similar. And then on the back, no more cross-sell. You got a picture of the figure. You got the file card. And you got your action points, which supposedly eventually they'll have something. But what is kind of cool is if you are an inbox collector, if you are one of those people that collect, so one day you can turn around and you're not going to open your toys and you're going to hold on to them. So hopefully one day you can make some money. This is your retirement. Then, hey, you know what? You have the original box. I'm sure Series 1 will be worth a lot more because first off, there's going to be so many broken ones. And second off, people open them. So let's take a look at this figure. We'll compare them to Series 1. I'm going to show you something with the flight stands. And then we'll wrap it up. Alright, so here we go. As I mentioned, every Valaverse video is already out. Figure comes out. There is this sheet that goes over that he says he puts on there so it doesn't rub up against the plastic and scratch any of the paint wearing the paint. And then there is this cover that goes over it, and then it slides into the box where there is already plastic. So the reason why Hasbro has to go plastic free is because he uses more plastic than anyone in the world. Again, complete overkill in my personal opinion. Alright, this is Series 1. This is Series 2. It looks like a zombie right now. Alright, so every Action Force comes with a stand. Once again, I'll reiterate the stands. They say Action Force on it. They look really nice. They're supposed to look like it's, kind of like a plate. They have 4 different pegs. Really nice. And then they have a slit for the file card. The only reason why I would ever use one of these is if I'm just staying my figures in a very dull pose and I want the file card behind it. These look nice. The problem is when you set them down, they are thick and they're going to draw away from your figures. Plus, the majority of the Action Force figures, I don't have an issue with. Let me take that back. The majority of my figures, I don't have a problem with standing and keeping standing. I don't know why people have such a hard time with it, but so I will say, it does look nice. It's too big in my personal opinion. So this guy comes with the exact same weapons that Series 1 does, so there is no difference other than the way the box looks. So he comes with his Vector, which has wonderful detail. It's this bright, like greenish yellow. It fits with his color scheme. And to me, this, if anyone has listened to me, these are my Serpentor guys. These guys are my Serpentors. They're a part of Coil. That's what all my baddies are. Here we have his sidearm, which looks like a futuristic gun, but it is not. It's got a little bit of a paint app, top and bottom. Looks really nice. Every gun has a porthole for blast effects, which he actually does sell. other than the machine gun, and there's a couple other weapons they don't, but they have a different extension that they use. And you got his knife. Again, a little bit of paint, so it looks like there's a blade on it, so it's just not dull and black, which is nice. I'm glad that they do stuff like that. And every Valaverse comes with at least 8 hands, so we'll start with these here. He's got these are thumb hands, so 2 thumb wrestling hands, 2 cupped hands, and 2 punching hands, and then the trigger fingers are on them to begin with. So quickly, we're going to look at the figure. If you saw my Swarm Sentry figure review, it's the exact same. I'll also leave a link to my original review of the Swarm Trooper for Series 1. So we'll start with the T-pose. My biggest gripe that's still going on with these is how the shoulders are made. And with this figure, he has armor. And I pointed out on this Swarm Sentry, you're not going to get a T-pose. You're not even going to come close to a T-pose. And I know a lot of people say that's not a big deal, but let me tell you, if this was another company, another manufacturer, so it's just with an A, H, ends with an O, people would throw a literal fit over it. But that's my biggest gripe. Let's see here. Bicep swirl. Pinless joints, no issues, nice and smooth. Plastic feels softer, but I didn't really have a big issue with these figures. There you have the body. Doesn't have the ab crunch like most of Hasbro. It has the swivel, which is actually much nicer, to be honest, under most circumstances. And the way this vest is cut, it's really nice. I think it fits nice, and you can actually get the motion that you want. You're going to get a T-pose. This is about as good as you can get. You have the straps here that definitely impede, and then you have the armament that also jabs into the hips. Drop down hips. Again, this thing really impedes it, causes problems. You have to work around it. But they do work. You can also remove these if need be. There's your knees. He can kick his butt because he doesn't have a strap. Same with this side. Then you have your thigh cut. Do not have a boot cut on this, and I have a feeling that it's just due to how this is supposed to be armored. You just have ankle rockers, but this here really does cause some issues with trying to get into some pretty good stances. This here kind of reminds me of the dumb G.I. Joe shin guards that got in the way of a lot of poses that you were going to get with your G.I. Joes when they first came out. All right, so here's sidearm. It fits in real nice. This one even pops in. You have your trigger finger. So here we have 2 different figures. I'm going to show you the difference. And again, these figures I really didn't have too much of an issue with. So if you listen here, you can hear how it just kind of makes a noise. This one here, much softer, much smoother. It feels more like what Hasbro's doing with theirs, but not in a bad way. And then same with the arms. It kind of pops around, where this one here, it's smooth. It just feels better. To remove the hands, they pop off really nicely. No issues, no heating up. The Swarm, on the other hand, this is Series 1. Swarm actually came off fairly decent, fairly easy, but still, you can definitely feel the difference. For some odd reason, the Swarm always seemed to be a little bit softer than the rest of the figures. But when you grab the 2 hands, you mess around with them, you can definitely feel the softer more pliable plastic in the new figures, which is to me very, very great. I mean, it's I'm grateful for it. Then the other thing is I've had so many issues trying to punch this all the way in that it leaves a gap. So if I remove this here, remember this is series 1, this is the series 2, and if this goes like the rest of the series, I'm sorry, the special deployment series, it popped in all the way it's supposed to. Again, I don't know if that was a conscious effort of something to change or just happened to, but it is a good, it's a good change. So what I decided I'm going to do here is I might as well change out the hands. I'll make this one a righty and this one will be a lefty. Alright, so that one's in. Throw him over there. So you understand I have done so many Valaverse reviews. If you look at the timeline there, you will see just how many I've been doing. So I guess while we're sitting here setting these figures up, take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the bell notification once again. Alright, so on this figure here, this was a huge problem. I wasn't able to get, once I popped it off, I wasn't able to get this back on. Now, the one thing that I think I may have figured out was I used a screw that fit in here on a different vest, and I punctured through it, and I went back and forth, and I wore it down. Everyone talked about heating it up, but I think the key to this is heating up this side, but not heating up the mushroom side here. Because if this gets heated up, then it's just going to collapse. If we only heat up this side, it should plug in and be perfectly fine. But we're going to see if the new ones are going to fit better. As a matter of fact, these ones are... Alright, so this is completely... Alright, so these ones here are done completely differently. So can you see that? So instead of having a plug, the mushroom on this side, and the hole there, they made a small little peg here, and then you're going to plug it in here. So the question is, how easily does that go back in? And this is very soft. It's still the same concept, the same mushroom style. And it looks like it might go in kind of easily. I didn't pull it off the Swarm Sentry. So this is actually the first time that I'm seeing it. We're about to grab that Swarm Sentry and see if it looks the same. So that's how that goes. As you can see, I'm still having an issue getting it to go on. So what I said about this, I guess if you're going to heat this up, I would say start with this side. But these are very soft. Like this is still a much harder texture. With this is much softer. So I know this isn't the best thing to watch, but it's going to give you an idea whether or not you're going to even want to attempt. You see, these things just keep popping off. And this is my biggest gripe. Well, one of my gripes with the line that this needs to be addressed. So if I grab him here, so the Swarm Sentry is the same as the new special deployment. So that is definitely different. It does lock on a little bit easier, but I have a feeling you're going to have to use some sort of needle nose pliers or something like that to get this back on, as one side continues to fall out no matter what. You look at that one is in all the way. So if that pops out, that's just because it is poorly designed still. Although I think this design seems to be better than this one over here. It seems like I can kind of maneuver this a little bit more. And I did just cut my fingernails. So as you can see, it's not like I have some big long fingernails. All right, so it actually does go on better. It's still not the easiest in the world. So now let's take our vector. As you can see, I can pry open his hands nice and easy without any issues and throw this on. So way better feel. I think everything within this figure feels just smoother and better. My big another gripe that I had, and once I point this out, you probably won't be able to not see it, is that he uses this translucent plastic, and on the other side, all there is a ball joint. So now when I look, all I can see is ball joint, and it looks even worse on the scarab because it's a whole round head, and all you see is that. So there you go. There is your scarab. I'm sorry, your swarm. Now, what I was talking about was Hasbro Flight Stand. One of the biggest issues with trying to make these guys fly is if you take this, and I did not get the new style. I did not get the new one. This is still the old one. I'm assuming the new one, he's changed the plastic. It should move a little bit smoother. So the problem with this is you can't really latch around him right here. This is all impeding it. It's causing a problem. But because of how big the tail is and how these Hasbro Flight Stands stand, you can take them, just set them in right like that, and you can pose him like he is flying. And the Hasbro stands also have these nice pegs here, so you just plug the figure right on it if you feel like it's going to shift over and hang. Oh, another issue that I should probably point out, no, not issue, a change, and if it's like this on the rest of them, here's our stand, peg, use the hole, pushes down, no problem. With Series 1, as I'm pushing as hard as I can, their holes were cut too small, or drilled too small, so they don't fit properly. They come off super easily. So they give you all these really nice stands that they bragged about, and the figures couldn't even use them. The figures couldn't even use them. You had to really heat them up. But I really don't have too many issues standing these figures. I will admit, the Swarm, the Scarab, the Swarm Sentry, they seem to have a harder time standing than the rest of the figures, who I don't use stands for with anything. So let's wrap this up. It kind of went on longer than I had planned. All right, so there you have it. That is the Swarm Trooper, the special deployment. Now, before you ask the question, do I need to rebuy this figure because it has new plastic? It seems to be made nicer if I already have Series 1. My answer is no. Once you warm these figures up, they're decent. But when you feel this, it is night and day. You can even tell he's a little loose, all right? He's not super stiff. I'm not making a complaint about it. I'm just pointing out they're a little looser, and that's fine. But if you just want one figure, if you're not looking to army build, then don't buy more. If you already have Series 1, stick with it. If you think, hey, you know what? I want to hold on to a figure. It might be worth some money. Series 1, I'm going to grab those. Maybe it's going to benefit you 10, 15 years down the road. I can't tell you. But what I can say is that the changes that he has made, unlike a lot of other companies that will say they make changes, he really has. This is not a colorway. It's not a repaint. It's the same figure, same paint, different box, but definitely different plastic. So I think it's a good figure. I just figured if I have it, I might as well do the review because they are different. If this was the exact same figure, no difference with the plastic or anything like that, I wouldn't have done a review on it. But kind of wanted to show you that. The other thing is, these are definitely my troopers to protect Serpentor. This color is just going to fit. Again, I've decided you have Cobra, that is Cobra Commander. Then you have Serpentor, he will be Coil. In fact, a Mindbender will be part of him. And these are my troopers. No Cobra officers, no Cobra troopers, no Vipers. Just the baddies from Valaverse and a few other baddies that I may have thrown in there. So I'm going to get out of here. You know the deal. Facebook and Instagram, A Punk with Toys, Facebook group page, which I will drop a link to. Punks with Toys. I'll also drop a link to the original Swarm video in case you're interested in seeing that. And, oh yes, subscribe, like, you know the deal. Subscribe, like, bell notification. I'm getting out of here. Have a wonderful day. Happy toy hunting. And check out this Valaverse playlist right here.